Hello everybody, this is Joe with Carbon Marine. Today I want to talk to you about setting up for your flood tide fishing. And for those that aren't familiar, just a real quick synopsis of what flood tide fishing means. Flood tides is when we start having these really big tides. Jacksonville's famous for it, Georgia's famous for it. And what happens is the tide gets so high, it floods up into these big Spartina flats. And then the redfish will kind of crawl through the Spartina grass, eating crustaceans off of the grass and just foraging. So you're able to kind of sneak in there with a skiff because there's enough water to float the skiff. It's really important that you prepare on these flood tide events because the fishing's a little different. You've got to be able to cast your fly into the grass, so the grass can sometimes get in the way. You probably want to throw a fly with a weed guard on it, or throw a fly that's a little heavier so that it falls and doesn't get caught on the grass, even though the redfish are in there eating snails or eating little crabs that are hanging from the shaft of the grass. The preparation is really important, and it's a different preparation than, say, oceanside tarpon fishing or negative winter tide estuary fishing, where you're in clean water and the fish are swimming in a predetermined or a predictive pattern. With flood tide fishing, you might be in the grass and you don't know the fish is in there, and all of a sudden the tail pops up. Well, we all know when a redfish tail pops up, that means his mouth is open and he's eating. He's pointed down, he's eating something. So that's a really good indicator that you have a higher propensity to catch that fish, because if he's tipped up, he's trying to find something or he is eating something. So my approach to Spartina grass flood tide fishing preparation is, number one, you need to have some sort of a line management mat, because you're going to want to prepare your line by stripping it off of the reel, right? So as you're stripping your line off of the reel, a lot of people don't pay attention to this. This is it's a little bit of a mind trick. If you'll notice, the last line coming off is deeper on the spool. And you'd say, well, Joe, why does that matter? And I'd say, well, it matters because when you go to cast, the line that's going to go out the rod is on the bottom of this stack. Remember, it went down first. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull that line back and restack it so that the line that comes off of the mat is closest to the leader. So the line to come off is on the top. If you're just stripping your line off of your reel onto your line layer 2, the line on the top is what was down in the spool, and the line that's going to be leaving is at the bottom. It's trapped. Now, some people would say, well, that's kind of hair splitting. What difference does it make? Well, it makes a lot of difference, because if you see a tailing fish and your line is misstacked and you start making your false cast, which I can't do because I'm inside, you start making your false cast, the energy of your false cast is going to start tugging on that line that's buried at the bottom, and you run the risk that it's going to knot up, or it's going to get trapped, or it's going to have additional friction, which is going to encumber your first cast. With Spartina grass fishing, you're going to have to make multiple casts. The fly is going to get hung up. Something's going to happen. You're not going to be able to, well, I should say, it's highly unlikely you're going to make a single cast and deliver the fly exactly to the right place. Some people can, I can't, but that's the importance of preparation, is that you stack your line. So when you make that cast, if the cast wasn't what you wanted and you're resetting, you're doing the same thing. You're stripping the line deeper on the spool first, and the line that's going to leave out with your cast on the top. So it's a little bit of a mind twister for people that haven't really thought through it. And I always say the devil's in that 1% detail of stacking the line, because if you don't stack it in the right order, you increase the chances of a big tangle, or the line will get robbed or pinched and you won't be able to make an effective cast. So just take the time when you're setting up, pull the line off, then restack it so that the line leaving when you cast is on the top and the line closer to the spool is on the bottom. And that's my tip for fishing these flood tides and the Spartina grass fishing is to make sure you have that line stacked in the proper order.